All right, well, here we go. It's going to be the week in review. So, oops. That's all right. So, let's go to Pitt. There it is. Yeah, sometimes just gets a little funny like that. All right, there we go. So, let's take a look. All right, this is weird. But anyway, let's take a look right now and just go from here. So, scores, schedules, everything like this. Let's take a look right now. So Sam Houston beat Louisiana Tech. Sam Houston is now 6-2. UTEP, Kennesaw State beat UTEP. They're 7-3. What a year for them. Middle Tennessee is 6-3 with the win over Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State might be in the toilet bowl. Florida International loses by 2 to Missouri State in overtime. Florida International not bad. They took number 1 Penn State to an 8-point game. UTSA beat Tulane. They're both 5-3. Good years. Coastal Carolina beat Marshall. Iowa beat Missouri by 10. Arizona State beat UCLA by 7. A very big game there, Arizona State. Air Force beat Army 17-14. Army looking for their first win. Penn State beat Ohio State in that unbelievable game that we had. Western Michigan beat Central Michigan. North Texas beat Navy 48-17. North Texas is good. Arkansas beat Mississippi State. Arkansas is a good team. They just lose the close games. Texas blew away Vanderbilt. They should move up. East Carolina beat Temple. Texas A&M in the ugliest game I've ever seen. A 13-0 win against AA. That might hurt them in the standings. Let's see. Georgia against Charlotte. Georgia is 7-3, and they might move up. Buffalo against Ball State. Buffalo is 45-31 winners. Kentucky 27-7 over Western Kentucky. LSU beating TCU 45-10. Northwestern 28-14 over Wisconsin. Purdue, they're tough. They lose games, but they're close. Iowa State with a 31-24 win. They're 3-0 in the conference, and they might make a conference championship game. Southern Florida over Tulsa, they're 5-3. Florida beat Alabama, so Alabama's going down. Florida will probably move up. We got to see this game and how it goes. Colorado beat Oklahoma State by 8. Virginia beat BC. Syracuse beat North Carolina. Big game there. Oklahoma beat Tennessee. So let's see how it affects everything. Nebraska beat USC. We saw that. Clemson blows away Duke 38-6. So Clemson showing that they belong. Georgia Tech beat Pitt barely 24-17. Georgia Southern beat Texas State 42-14. Notre Dame beat Michigan. Michigan's pretty much done for the playoffs. Houston's undefeated. Let's see where Houston goes. BYU beat Washington. Washington might be done. Boise State 20-14. West Virginia blows out Indiana 45-24 at home. That is a huge surprise, and Indiana's going to take a huge shot. Fresno State beat UNLV. San Diego State beat Wyoming big time. Washington State over Oregon State. Look at UConn. They're 7-1. They won a mid-major bowl, 31-15. So they're 7-1 and looking good. Florida State 31-10 over Wake Forest. Cincinnati beat Memphis. Let's see where they put all those teams. Auburn beat Miami. Miami might be done. They do have a pathway. NC State beat Maryland. Miami of Ohio beat Bowling Green. Arkansas State beat Troy 16-3. Southern Alabama beat Louisiana. Liberty beat Delaware by a point. Baylor beat UCF. Baylor not bad. SMU beat Cal by a point. Minnesota 24-23 over Louisville. Louisville's a lot of tough losses. Illinois beat Kansas. That's a big win for Illinois. Monroe beat Old Dominion. So that looks good for them. Kansas State by 3 over Texas Tech. Texas Tech, remember they thought playoffs? And they got beat. South Carolina beat Ole Miss 41-21. South Carolina could be number one. Akron beat Ohio 13-6. Utah beat Stanford, and San Jose State beat Hawaii. Now let's take a look. And members, let's see. Let's go. Let's just pick one. Penn State head coach. Well, actually, let's just do this. Uh, league settings. I was wondering, we're gonna just, I guess, with the both, we'll just go ready to advance. And members, let's go to this one, switch, and go, oh, there we go. We'll just do this one. Force advance, because, yeah, that is. And, yep. So there we go. This is Miami. And now what I'm going to do is just a simple thing after this to make Pitt still number one. It really doesn't matter. So here we go. Let's take a look at the top 25. Actually, no, we want to take a look at first the college football bracket. So the football playoff bracket is Penn State number one, Carolina now number 2, LSU now number 3, Clemson now number 4, Houston, Oregon is 5. That's Oregon is 5. Notre Dame is 6. Texas A&M 7, but Texas, let's see, Georgia is 8, Ohio State is 9. Penn State beat Ohio State, so Ohio State is still in. Texas is 10, Arizona State is 11, and Houston is 12. Houston moves up. It was Memphis, now it's Houston. Houston and Arizona State, they're two people, so it's the top 10 that get in. Texas and Texas A&M play each other. I don't know about that. But that's the way it is, and Houston is 8-0. You just never know. Let's take a look at all the top 25. College football, let's take a look at the top 25. Here's the playoff. Penn State is 1, South Carolina is 2, they move up. LSU is number 3, they move down, but they play Alabama this week. Clemson is 4. They play at Tennessee. That ought to be a big one. Oregon. Notre Dame is now 6. They're at Ohio State. And Texas A&M is at Ole Miss. Ohio State and Notre Dame, we see that. Texas, Florida, Tennessee. Tennessee is down, and Florida is there. Texas, as you see the two others trying to go up. Florida, Tennessee, Auburn. Here's Miami. They move up to 14th. After a loss at Auburn, who moves up to 13th. I don't know. Colorado's 15th. Arizona State. Oklahoma is there. Kansas State, not ranked. They move up after beating Texas Tech. Indiana moves all the way down. Houston moves up. Alabama moving down after a loss in Florida. Cincinnati moves up to 22nd. Remember, they're playing Houston. Ole Miss, Memphis is there, and Michigan is down 25th. In the media poll, there you can see the different ones. Let's take a look. This is what they have in UConn, 25th. They have UConn at 25th. More information. And there is everything. Ole Miss, Michigan, USC, Washington, and Duke. They leave. And for the coaches, Colorado's 15th after winning. A lot of craziness going on. And near the middle, Rutgers is there. And Illinois UConn is starting to get votes. So you got to take a look at UConn. UConn beat Syracuse. Conference standings. All right, let's start with the SEC here. The SEC East. South Carolina 2-4. South Carolina and then Clemson. That game is going to be, the rivalry game is going to be a huge game. There you see everybody. Tennessee with that big loss. That was big. Auburn now leads Miami. Florida is now 2-1. Alabama is way down there. That's going to be difficult. Sunbelt East, UConn 3-0, and they beat App State. That's going to be huge. In the West, South Alabama, Arkansas State. And there you see, that's going to be big there. The ACC, you have the North. You have Rutgers, who's 2-0. Syracuse, 3-0. Virginia, remember, UConn beat Syracuse. Virginia Tech, BC, and Maryland. There we go. ACC South, Duke, and Wake Forest. Still up there. Wake Forest got killed this week. And you have Army and Navy, which will be good. In the American, you have LSU leading everybody. Then Ole Miss, and Oklahoma is now 17th. In the Western, you have Texas A&M and Texas. Colorado, who's up there. You never know. They're going to have a big thing. Big 12, Northwestern is 3-0. Wisconsin and Minnesota. Iowa State is 6-3. Kansas State is 18th. Okay, Big 10, Penn State is 3-0 in the conference, and they should go out. They should go out number 1, but who's going to be number 2? Notre Dame is 3-1, Indiana is 2-2, Michigan is 2-2. I mean, Michigan can get in, but they lost to Penn State, but they got to, and Notre Dame. But they got to go like 5-2 and hope other people lose. Ohio State lost to Penn State, and Penn State, and I think Notre Dame. Who'd they lose to in the Big Ten? Michigan State, they got upset, and that's going to hurt them. That's going to hurt them, though they're still in the playoff contention. Conference USA, Houston is 8-0. They're 2-0 in the conference, looking very good here. On the other side, there's Fresno State. San Diego State is always a tough football team. The Independents, San Jose State looking good. Jacksonville State, 1-8. And Florida International, they're starting to be the toilet bowl teams. Mac in Ohio, you're seeing Miami University looking good at 3-0. And the Outer Ohio and Buffalo is 3-0. They're looking good. The Mid-Major North Conference, you have Cincinnati, who just beat Memphis and is looking up. The Mid-Major South is Central Florida, as they're 3-0. The Pac-12 North, which is really the South, Arizona State. Man, them in Arizona, that's going to be a heck of a game. UCLA, USC, Washington, Oregon State, that's the North. The South, which is really North, Oregon is 2-0, and they got to just win out. They will. They'll go 12-0. They're probably going to be a bye if they do that. And the SEC, which we just showed you, and South Carolina, Clemson's going to be big. Taking a look right now at the team, the players of the week. There they go. Tacario Davis for BYU. And Chaz, my God, his name is Chaz Nimrod. Okay. Chaz Nimrod. 8 receptions, 297 yards against Tulsa. That was Chaz Nimrod there. That was huge. Taking a look, you can take a look at your own division and slow this down. Take a look there. Of course, we had a lot of very good players and teams. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the Heisman, then the bold projections. So here's the Heisman right now. The Heisman watch, Nate Frazier for Georgia. He had 12 for 69 against Charlotte, 4 receptions, 72 yards. He moves up. Second is Kevin Jennings against Cal. He played very well, but I don't get it. DeQuan Finn from Miami University. He beat Bowling Green 24-32 for 257. Nicholas Singleton, 16 for 89. And a rushing touchdown, Nicholas Singleton. And Tennessee, Joey Aguilar. And he lost, but he had 398 yards in 4 touchdowns. 398 yards and 4 touchdowns. Right now, here's the award watch list. You can slow this down and look. But the head coach of the year, San Jose State, he's incredible. So you take a look, the Doak Walker, the Blitnikoff, the Lombardi, the Unitas, the Miami of Ohio. That's going to be big. And you could just take a look at this stuff right now. The best kicker, the best punter, freshman player of the year. And there's the Maxwell Award. Taking a look at the bowl projections right now. This will end the week. The Ventures Bowl, San Jose State, Miami, UCLA and Northwestern in the Alamo, Buffalo and Cincinnati in the Arizona Bowl. That would be a heck of a game. Miami and Ole Miss in the Armed Forces Bowl. Bahama Bowl will be USC, Middle Tennessee State, Alabama and Virginia in the Birmingham Bowl. Boise State, Georgia Southern in the Boca Raton Bowl, first round. They're your first round games. Then the Citrus Bowl, Pitt and Florida State right now. Cotton Bowl, Clemson would have it. The Cure Bowl, Fresno State, Toledo. East Carolina, Michigan State. Air Force, Tulane. Illinois, Kennesaw State. TCU, Appalachian, the first responder. Iowa and Colorado looking right now there. In the Frisco Bowl, the Game Above Sports Bowl, BC and Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan 6-3. North Carolina and Auburn looking at the Gasparilla Bowl. Gator Bowl, Georgia Tech and UTSA. How about that? The Hawaii Bowl, Southern Florida and Baylor. Wake Forest and Utah in the Holiday Bowl. Independence Bowl, how about UTEP and Iowa State? The LA Bowl, Duke and UCF. Arizona and Tennessee in the Las Vegas Bowl. Liberty Bowl, Kansas State and Arkansas. Should be a good one there if they get it. Texas Tech and Virginia Tech in the Military Bowl. Florida and Indiana in the Music City Bowl. Myrtle Beach is UConn and Oklahoma. That would be big, but UConn wants a playoff position now. Memphis 8-1 against Nebraska in the New Mexico Bowl. New Orleans Bowl would be San Diego State and Sam Houston. Pop-Tarts is Wisconsin and Rutgers. Missouri and West Virginia in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. The ReliaQuest Bowl, Michigan, Louisiana Tech. Rose Bowl, Penn State would go. Veterans Bowl, Bowling Green and Southern Miss. Sugar Bowl, Sun Bowl would be Washington and Syracuse. That might be a good one. Texas Bowl, Missouri State and Minnesota. Let's take a look right now at the schedules. Here we go. Ohio plays Miami, UMass Akron. We're going to go down and take a look at all these. App State, Georgia Southern. You see a few really good ones. Well, Houston and Utah State. Let's see, Houston, number 20 right there. Louisiana Tech, Florida International, Temple and Army. Here's Miami. Miami hosting Syracuse. Remember, Syracuse beat them last year, kept them from the playoffs. So Virginia Tech, BC, Notre Dame and Ohio State. That's going to be a huge game. Memphis and Liberty, Western Kentucky, Cincinnati. Pitt at Michigan. Two teams that their season will be made by that. Washington State, Arizona State, Texas A&M and Ole Miss. Texas A&M is, well, can they get out of the funk if Ole Miss wins? That'll be huge. Florida State, Arkansas. There we go. West Virginia, Michigan State, revitalized team. Clemson and Tennessee. Georgia Tech, South Carolina. Kansas State, Nebraska, and Colorado at Texas Tech. That'll be a unique one. How about San Jose State? They could go 9-2. Auburn and Vanderbilt. LSU at Alabama. Huge game for Alabama. They lose, it's over for them. Baylor at Texas could be better than what people think. Indiana at Penn State, a huge game for Indiana. I think Penn State is going to be very big on that. Indiana got humiliated at West Virginia. And Oregon and California. So, 4 games of the week. It's going to be Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson, Tennessee, LSU, Alabama, and Indiana at Penn State. Probably do LSU at Alabama first, Indiana at Penn State, then Clemson at Tennessee, and Notre Dame at Ohio State. All right, that's going to be it for us today. Have a great day. We'll see you later.